Hi everyone, welcome back to Venusianscorp Astrology and Tarot, where I talk about all things astrology and tarot. Today we are going to be talking about Mercury in the second house. This is if your Mercury sign is placed in the second house of the zodiac wheel. It doesn't matter what sign your Mercury is in, like you could have a Mercury in Aries or Gemini or any other sign, but you need to look at the house at which the Mercury planet is placed in your birth chart. So this is about the second house and Mercury being in the second house. Before I get started with the video or the podcast, I wanted to mention that I do natal chart readings. I do birth chart readings basically, and I also do relationship compatibility readings, which is called Synastry chart readings. So if you have somebody in mind, or if you're in a relationship and you want to know how the dynamics are going to play out, then you can contact me for a reading. I also do tarot sessions, and I also do one-on-one counseling sessions, which is basically like being in therapy, but it's using astrology and alternative methods to help you overcome any kind of blockages or challenges in your life. So you can contact me by email. The link is in the description box below. So let's get started. Okay, so Mercury is basically the way you process, the way you communicate, basically. So if your emotions are represented by the moon, Mercury is how you're going to actually articulate that. So, it's a very important part of your personality, because that's usually what reflects in your conversations with other people. So the second house has to do with self-esteem, it has to do with your core values, it's a very Taurus ruled house, so it's very much about financial stability, especially money that you make on your own. So if the eighth house is about money that you get from other people, so that's why it rules inheritances, taxes, that kind of thing. The second house is about money that you make on your own through your own efforts, and it's about tangible wealth. So we're talking about gemstones, we're talking about, the precious metals and things like that. So tangible assets like real estate, those are all in the second house category. When you've got your Mercury in the second house, you may have the gift of the gab. People might, what is often called the silver tongue, so to speak, because when you have Mercury here, you may have a very strong gift to be able to persuade other people to do whatever you want them to do. So you're very good at persuasion, whether that's negotiating a deal or explaining any kind of a complex idea. You generally tend to use words as a form of currency, because it's the second house we're talking about here. So it's very much you use your words or your communication as a way to get more money, or as a way to make sure that a deal is in your favor. And in fact, because this is a Taurus ruled house, and the Taurus is ruled by the throat, your voice can actually make you money. So if this is a career path that you're planning to embark on, then that's something to consider, like maybe singing, or any kind of profession where your voice can make you more money. That would be very beneficial for you, because you've got this placement in the second house. Now, you can be very intellectually resourceful as a person. Now, Mercury in second house people, generally I've noticed, they don't tend to work hard. They tend to work very smart. So if you want to try and make money from something, or if you want to try and get something to work your way, you would usually try to find a clever shortcut in order to get more productive, or make sure that something happens your way. So this is a placement that's very good at working smart, at finding shortcuts, at finding a better optimal way to get things done. That doesn't mean you're lazy, or that doesn't mean that you're not proactive, or that you procrastinate, or that kind of thing. It just means that you're very good at being very efficient at how you get your money, or how you get things done, which is good, because you find the best method, the shortcut, or the most efficient method to get things done. um, when it comes to having income, because second house rules your income, you may have a lot of different ways in which you get your money, because Mercury, let's be real, Mercury is a very fast moving planet. It loves variety. So you may have multiple streams of income. For example, you may have a regular day job that you go to on a regular basis, like a 9 to 5 job, but you may also have something on the side, like a side business. And then you may have investments on the side, or you may have like a side gig, things like that. You may have multiple sources of income which readily give you the kind of wealth that you're looking for. So you don't like to put all your eggs in one basket when it comes to making money, which is actually a good strategy, because you want to make sure that you're safe financially, because second house is also about safety. It's a very Taurus ruled house, and Taurus needs financial stability. When you have your Mercury here, because it's your style of communication and this is an income house, it's a financial house, your streams of income may be very varied. Like, a lot of people may not even know that you have so many multiple streams of income going on. You may love investing in education, books, or technology. You may love reading a lot. You may love reading about finance. You may love reading about, financial success or financial strategy, or getting better at making money or getting your own money. And you may consider investing in books or knowledge or, technology as assets. So these are not investment. These are not liabilities to you. When you invest in these things, you actually consider them as assets, because they help you grow and multiply your income or your money in many different ways. Um, the funny thing about Mercury in second house is your bank account can often be a reflection of your mental state. Now, because Mercury is the mind and how you actually process and actually articulate your thoughts, if your mental state is not in a very good place, then your bank account or your financial health may reflect that. Now, that seems like a bit of a cliche, because a lot of the times it can apply to a lot of different placements. But with your particular placement, like the Mercury in the second house, this is especially true. So, if you're feeling anxious, you may find that you spend a lot of money, or like you go for retail therapy. That's again a very Taurus trait, like the feel goods, right? You want to balance your nervous mental state by shopping more or by buying more things. Um, and the good thing about that is, because this is Mercury here, Mercury is about the mind, you can be very good at budgeting as well. You can be really good at accounting. You can make really good financial decisions. Like, you have a knack for knowing what's going to make you money, and you're very good at spotting market trends as well. So for example, if you invest in the stock market, you would have a knack for knowing which particular shares are going to get you the most dividends, that kind of thing. You just know, you have an inkling or a knack for knowing which streams of income or which investments are going to get you the best profits, which is good because you're really good at that. But be sure that you're not that you're operating from a healthy mental state when you're making these investments, because like I said, your bank account, your financial health can really be a reflection of your mental health if you're not careful. Now, you may tend to overthink a lot sometimes. For example, even though you're really good at spotting what's going to get you the best money or like the most financial success, you can overthink. You can overanalyze quite a bit. For example, if you buy something, you may tend to overthink about it a lot, because it's Mercury here. Mercury does tend to have that quality. You may tend to go through every single detail, like analysis paralysis, almost like, should you buy this, should you not buy this, and weighing every single pro and con, when sometimes it can be a bit of an overkill. So you want to make sure that you don't overthink about every purchase or everything that you buy or every investment that you make. Now, when it comes to your career, you could have very good success in careers like sales, teaching, accounting, writing, or even commerce, or even any kind of financial domain. That would be great for your career choices. When it comes to the way you speak, because we're talking about Mercury here, you tend to be very logical, and you tend to articulate your thoughts really well. Sometimes the way you speak can be a little bit fast paced, so make sure that you're slowing down a bit, because not everybody may be able to follow your pace of thinking, because you think really fast. You're a very sharp thinker. Like I said, when it comes to finances and money, you're very astute, like you know what's going to work, what's not going to work. But because your mind works so fast, a lot of other people may not be able to catch up. So make sure that you speak in a way that other people can process it as well. When it comes to your values, because this is the second house we are talking about, that's a very core part of your personality. You tend to value logic and data over, abstract ideals or raw information or raw emotion. Like, you are more logically inclined. If somebody comes to you with some kind of an abstract idea that let's go for this, let's invest in this, like somebody may come to you saying that they have a very good feeling about this and they should invest in something, you're not going to go for that. Like you're the kind of person that does their research. You do a fair bit of market research before you actually invest in something. So you're more of a logical person. You value data and research and logical thinking over abstract things. um, when it comes to your family, you most likely grew up in an environment where street smarts were prioritized, where education was prioritized, where you were told that you have to be a blend of both. You can't be just a bookworm. You have to be street smart. You have to know how to be slick about things. You have to know how to be clever. Being clever was often prized a lot in your family or the way you grew up. So that's a very important part of your psyche. Now, some of the ways the shadow side of this placement can play out, now because Mercury is a restless energy, sometimes it can lead to fickleness on your part. Like you can change your financial goals quite often, and that is a shadow aspect of this particular placement. Even though you're really good at figuring out what works well financially for you, if your mind is not in a healthy place, you can change your financial goals very often. Like one day you may decide you want to invest in something, another day it's another idea, another investment idea. So you want to make sure that it's consistent with your long term goals and that you don't change your financial goals too often, because that really doesn't get you too many long term benefits. Like they say, right, a rolling stone doesn't gather any moss. So you need to make sure that it's very consistent. Your Like I said, your mental health can be reflected in your bank account, in your financial health. So you need to make sure that your nervous energy doesn't really overpower your logical thinking about finances and things like that. Like you may tend to worry a lot about if you have enough or not. That scarcity mindset can sometimes creep in, and you want to make sure that it's not overshadowing your sense of self, because this is the second house we're talking about, your value system. So you need to make sure that you're not worrying excessively about your financial health or inadequacy and things like that. You need to come from an abundance mindset, basically. If your Mercury is poorly aspected, like if there is some malefic planet aspecting your Mercury, then you can often be a little bit on the manipulative side, especially when it comes to financial situations. Like I said, you're very clever when it comes to making financial decisions, and you have the gift of the gab. You have a silver tongue. You can easily persuade people to do things your way. So if you're not careful, the shadow side can manifest as you using your communication, which is your Mercury, and your gift of persuasion to manipulate people or situations to make sure things go your way. Now, that's not always a bad thing, but if it's done at the detriment of other people, or if it's done at the harm or expense of something else, then that's a shadow side. So you need to be careful about that. Now, because the second house rules the throat, it's a very Taurian house, right? Taurus rules the throat. You can have a talent for public speaking or singing, because it's the voice here we're talking about. Like I said before, your voice could actually make you money. It's a currency for you. So if you haven't explored your voice, like when it comes to public speaking or singing or any kind of lucrative career that actually utilizes your voice, this could be a great way for you to get additional income, because this is a very good way for you to channel the money and get it flowing to you. So this is what I have for you, Mercury in second house people. This is a great placement. It's very, very good for making money, like, because this is a mind. You have a sharp business acumen, you have a sharp financial acumen, you know what works, you know exactly where to invest. But just make sure that the shadow side doesn't creep in, like I was talking about earlier. You just need to make sure that your mental health and your mindset is at a healthy place. So that's what I have for you. If you want to contact me for a reading, you can definitely get in touch with me on email. The link is in the description box below, and I'll see you in the next podcast. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.